Hello, welcome back to the casting panel with myself, ODPixel and Draskell. And here we are with game 2 between 4 Clovers and a Leprecon and the side, of course, of Yellow Submarine. The draft is well underway, so let's get ourselves over to the picks and bans. Well, Draskell, second ban, the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 4 Clover and you want to try to pick your Treant, then taking away Ember is obviously a step in the right direction. I think Slasher talked about the Darkseer pick and how counterintuitive it is to pick a Treant into Darkseer, but picking it into a Darkseer and an Ember makes the armor more than worthless. Like, there was maybe 1 or 2 instances, I think, in that game where the armor actually saved anyone, and I was like, it didn't really matter. Like, those kills would have been nice for the team to get, but in the end, they still ended up taking the first game. So everything considered, if they want to go back for the Treant yet again, this time, they're not going to have to worry about that annoying thing. And if you take out the Ember, it takes away the combo of the Darkseer Ember in the first place, which we thought was going to be something that we would have seen last game, but it just didn't really end up coming to fruition in a big way. But looking pretty standard now from both teams. Not going to see a Nyx pick. Not going to see Darkseer as a second pick. And this is kind of what we said too. Is like the first game was a bit clowny. So now both teams are just going to be like, let's just pick standard stuff. You know, we'll go with the norm.
Pretty much looks like it. I mean, yeah, on the side of Yellow Submarine, first pick straight in there with the axe, and then they pick up the Shadow Fiend, and well, by the time its third pick, it's not banned out. So we see the Earthshaker picked up, pretty much the standard go-to hero when you've got an SF in the mid lane. Someone there's a bit of an issue to play against, but very good to have on the same team. And PSM's not a happy man.
The angriest man who's ever played Dota, actually. Like, I mean, they have the term resting angry face.
5 seconds
Resting
remaining.
angry face.
Yeah, it's like if you're just sitting there normally, right?
That's
and you're
your
just looking,
go-to face.
Like, I can't even do it that well anymore because my eyebrows actually sit quite a bit lower normally. But you make yourself look happier on average just so people don't think you're constantly upset with them. Because I used to have that all the time when I was at home when I was a kid.
People are like, you all right?
My mom's like, why are you so mad? I'm like, I'm not mad. This is just how I look. And then I get mad because they think I'm mad.
And that doesn't help.
And that doesn't help.
That doesn't help.
Of course.
It's
all right,
slowly
so
dwindling spiral, yeah.
Yeah.
Rubik, third pick, picked up halfway through the draft. I mean, do you like it?
I think the Rubik is fantastic against Shaker. It's one of the coolest heroes to have against it solely because stealing Fissure, it's one of the most satisfying spells to use without a cast time. So you just like, boom, insta-fissure. Blocking is so easy with a Rubik. And if you plan on picking anything like you used to see Rubik Gyro a long time ago. That combo was always very strong because of the magical damage output you had during the early game and complementing the Rubik and being able to telekinesis people into range to be able to deal damage to them. But he's a hero who I've always loved. He just hasn't always fit because his damage output is pretty meh. You know, but with a Chen, it kind of supplements him in the same way that a Gyro would, and that you have the creeps to deal the damage for you, possibly adding even more lockdown to the gank as well. But Enchantress here for Yellow Submarine.
Enchantress indeed is the pickup.
Yeah.
Obviously, between the two junglers, the Chen and the Enchantress, what are kind of the advantages and disadvantages of both?
So you can steal creeps as Enchantress because the ability has a longer cooldown. You also have the advantage of being able to have more than one creep with level 1 enchant, which Chen obviously can't do that. He has to wait until he's like level 3 and 5.
10
but
seconds remaining.
I think the biggest difference is how the heroes actually play in fights, whereas Enchantress is more seen as a semi-core after a while because of impetus and going for more farm-oriented items. Very rarely buys a mech on Enchantress because you use so much mana throwing impetus that you don't really have the mana pool to use the item, especially ever since they increased the mana cost. But wow, Lifestealer. There's a hero we don't see very often.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it could be a Bambo hero, I guess. It could also be BZZ.
It could be, yeah.
Like, they could last pick Bambo's hero. But I actually think Lifestealer is okay against these heroes because he's good against Axe in the way that you wouldn't think about. So if you go in and you get Blink called, he gets a little bit of armor, but Lifestealer hitting an Axe without call on, you steal a ton of HP, and you kind of just chew through him. Like, the Axe is never at any stage going to be a real threat to you in a one-on-one scenario. So you're relying heavily on the damage follow-up. Also great against Enchantress, because if you get on her with a Rage on, you don't get the untouchable debuff. You cannot be hit with impetus, even though it is pure damage. It does not pierce magic immunity. And everything else on the side of Yellow Submarine doesn't really hurt you until maybe the SF gets some farm. So I think in some ways, this could actually be really good because Troll and Sniper and Jug were all banned. So it feels like they're just abusing the fact that none of the typical cores are in, and even taking out the Storm too. Now, they did it because they already have a mid, even though Yellow Submarine could have easily picked it themselves, which would have been fantastic against 4 Clover's lineup because they would have only had one hero who could catch. I don't know, there's like mind games on top of mind games going on right now.
And the final pick for the side of Yellow Submarine.
And they even had first pick out of the ban phase. They could have just taken Storm themselves, put Shadow Fiend in the safe lane.
It's going to be a Razor. I guess Razor works pretty nicely against the Lifestealer.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the better counter picks for the hero. Like, even if you rage, it doesn't remove the link. Like, you can buy Lincolns now, but nobody really wants to buy Lincolns on Lifestealer. Even though they sound kind of similar.
And final pick for the side of Four Clovers. So they're still looking for what we expect to either be... I mean, I guess you're going to be putting the Quap up against CSF. You could put it in the off lane, but do you think they'll be happy with the matchup with the Quap there?
I mean, you could put the Quad versus SF. That hero beats pretty much like everything that normally gets through the draft, outside of Sniper, which nobody really beats Sniper. I think Clock, maybe, would be solid for them. It's another hero to infest into, like outside of just the Queen. You hookshot somebody, you put him in a Thunderdome, you pop out, and you try to kill them.
What about a Puck?
Puck is also okay, but you're going to see at least 3 BKBs this game from Yellow Submarine, and Puck falls off super hard. Plus, then your pushing potential would actually be, would be okay, I guess. We have Chen. So, yeah, I guess either is possible. They want an Initiator, though, but they're going to pick Windranger instead. Okay. No initiation, really, on 4 Clover. They're going to go with the... Our team fight is going to be solely through being able to fight and push. Like, we're going to make you react to us instead of we're going to have a team composition that can actually force a fight. It's more like our fights are started by us pushing, and then you have to fight into us. So, it's a different way of doing it, but Goblak, he's not going to go for the standard pick at least one initiator strategy.
So looking at the draft as a whole, I mean, does a certain side kind of stick out to you as favourable, or do you kind of feel that both have their merits in this situation?
It's pretty even.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on what the Shaker does for the Radiant side, and also the 2 roamers, of course. You have 2 jungle heroes, so the Chen and the Enchantress both. So like in the early game, it's going to be up to what kind of momentum each respective jungler can give to their team. And then as the game progresses, you're going to have blink timings that are very important for Yellow Submarine, and 4 Clover are... And honestly, I think like Yellow Submarine probably have the more stable draft, in my opinion, because they have double blink heroes that are both really easy to use. Like Axe goes in first, and then you have the Shaker for backup in case things go poorly, right, after they get blink daggers. You got SF as a core. The Enchantress also transitions into a semi-core. You got Razor, who's your mech buyer, who's going to be farming safe lane. So you'll see potentially some action here, but it looks like Bambo is just going to retreat. But yeah, I think I slightly favor Yellow Submarine, but it's like 55-45 for the draft. It's very close.
Very close indeed. And talking about the draft, let's have a look who is on what. On the side of the Radiant, on the side of Yellow Submarine, you can have PSM on the Enchantress. Fervian will be playing on the support Earthshaker this time. Barash on his Shadow Fiend yet again. Viposhka this time manning up on the Razor. And finally, it's going to be Dale on the offlane Axe. I'm only Pixel here with Draskell, and it's, of course, Yellow Submarine versus 4 Clovers. What are we seeing over on the side of the Dire, Draskell?
All right, so we got Hani. He's going to be handling Queen of Pain this game. In the river, we're going to have Sexy Bambo trading a little bit here. That Shadow Fiend. Standing next to him is going to be Yol. Oh, Bambo. Going to be forced to wind run away here. Probably will be fine. Leprecon got boots, but he's not going to continue chasing that out. And also going to see an open wins here on the Dale as BZZ is auto-attacking him down with Hani. This should be the first blood.
Oh, first blood for your Queen of Pain mid lane. That's a good way to start.
Not bad. Especially against Shadow Fiend. And he's already seen that he has level 1 raise, so... It's very easy to zone a Shadow Fiend with Queen. Like, you just do what he does right now. What a lot of players do, and I know this is probably like sub 4K advice. Okay. But don't actually click on the Shadow Fiend in this position because you pull the creeps up, and you don't want to pull the creeps. You want the Shadow Fiend to not hit them. Kind of what Hani has done here. So nicely played.
I'm sure Hani will be able to deal with this situation. Looking at the other lanes, so you've got Dale at the moment on his own. Looks like the backup of the Earthshakers coming in to deal with this dual lane. And then finally on the bottom lane, so you've got this off-lane Windranger, and he's going to be able to deal up with the Razor and the potential ganks from the Enchantress. So I guess, is this one of these lanes where we're just going to see both heroes equally farm, or do you feel someone's got kill potential down here? Well,
Bambo is still going to have to play a little bit defensive because he's up against 2 heroes. If the Enchantress gets like a troll creep, for example, that can be very annoying. Middle lane.
Might be the second kill there for Barash. Oh no, sorry, second kill, sorry, for Hani. Yeah, and Hani finds it. Centaur.
Centaur. The bottle! Oh, he's fine.
So, a very good start for Hani. A minute and a half in, he's found himself 2 kills.
That's a Shadow Fiend, if I've ever seen one.
Oh, I see what he did there.
Yeah, it's not great for him right now. The problem with the Queen snowballing, too, is Oh, he didn't go 2 points in a dagger. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of queens opt for double dagger because it means that your trade is almost always going to be better than even the Shadow Fiend, unless he lands like a double raise. But typically, if you're going to all in, you just blink on top of the hero, and then you dagger him and you trade that way, because if you run the risk of getting like double or maybe even triple raise. But if you blink into him and just hit him, then he has to sit there and auto attack you back. And if he starts to run, then you just follow him. So bit of preference play here from Hani. Oh, he did get the second point of dagger. He just got it at level 4. That's so bizarre. I wonder why he did that. But he gets a regen anyway, so he's living the dream.
Yeah, indeed. Regen. I mean, the Shadow Fiend is still finding the CS in the mid lane. 8 for 0 against Hani, 7 for 2. But
yeah,
you've got to bear in mind the fact that Hani has found those 2 kills.
I realize why he did it now.
Okay.
I didn't see it at first, but I think it was because when he all-ined Barash, he wanted the extra burst damage for diving the tower. That would actually make sense.
All right. Hani returns to the lane, gets the dagger out, continues the harassment. And looking at our 2 kind of cores on both these, both the sides of the map, obviously on the side of the Radiant at the top lane, Dale at the moment, he's found himself a fair bit of CS, 6 CS at the moment. He's getting fairly harassed by the Yol and BZZ combination. And down in your bottom lane, Razor finding a fair bit for himself, second on the CS board at the moment. I mean, 2-0 in. We're talking about the fact that both teams have the very kind of active junglers, the Chen and the Enchantress. Who's going to be their targets? Are they going to be looking mainly towards the mid lane, both of them?
Yeah, Godblack wants to gank mid for sure. But on Yellow Submarine, you don't really want to try to gank a queen. You just want to be annoying to the queen to make sure that Hani's not just getting like a free lane. Because as of right now, he's still doing pretty well for himself. Top of the net worth by about 700 top lane though. Yeah,
open wounds there into the Fade Bolt. Trying to chase this one down. The Fisher did come out blocking off BZZ, and it looks like it will be enough to get both of the heroes away safely. On in the mid lane, taking a few raises to his face. Keeping Barash in position with the dagger, keeping him held back. And the bottle's back out to him. Barash will be fine, able to top himself back up. But 2-0 still at the moment, coming up to 4 minutes in. Both Godblack and Enchantress continuing to find the farm in the jungle. It's looking to go a little bit better for Godblack as he does have the level advantage. And he's clearing the creeps up a little bit quicker. Dale getting lifted back, finds a nice cool eye onto a couple of them. We'll get Troll trapped up. BZZ going back in, and with the stun and the zap there from Yol, they do find a kill onto the Axe. So 3 for 0 now for the side of the Die, and a very nice rotation there from the Chen.
A more standard composition from 4 Clover. I mean, Lifestealer is a little bit unconventional, but the rest of their heroes, this is like,
that's a rotation.
Okay. That's a teleporting Shadow Fiend into a Fissure Raise. Okay, so that was a nice kill. Yeah, very well executed. But I really think that 4 Clover, they don't need to pick the weird clowny stuff like we saw last game. You know, they can just pick a normal strategy and just outplay their opponent, and I feel like that's what they're aiming to do this game.
Mid lane, Hani going in with the Sonic Wave and the right clicks, but Barash, he finds himself the kill. And with the pause, he's going to be fine.
Your stick. Use your stick. He didn't. He tried, though. He actually realized that he wasn't going to win the trade, but I think he panicked, because that stick would have let him live through one more auto attack, and he probably would have killed the Shadow Fiend instead. So, Barash with the luck that Hani decided to grace him with a kill.
Climbing his way back into it, the Shadow Fiend, still at the top of the CS board, and the fact that he's now found 2 kills as well across the map is going to greatly benefit him. Bottom lane is getting to the stage where, well, Miposhka is able to take real control of this lane. He's found 24 to 13 compared to Bambo there with the 10 for 1 at the moment. Chen now with the Arcanes there, but this lane, all in all, going very, very well for the raise down the bottom. Top lane, BCZ getting caught in a call. In comes PSM as well with the right clicks. Hasn't quite hit level 6. Still just a level 4, so can't get in with the slow as well with the rage on the lifesteal activator. Fisher is going to miss there in the mid lane. That was a little bit off there from the old ES.
Unfortunate, but he still refilled Barash's bottle, so I'm sure he's fine with it.
Oh,
bottom lane, the bait. It's a huge bait.
Massive bait. Yol's there with the telekinesis. I mean, Miposhka's done a lot of damage here.
He's going to kill Yol.
Another stun's there, and the test of fate. Bringing him low enough, nearly brings down Yol, as you said. A little bit messy from 4 Clovers, but he gets the job done.
All right, Bambo. That was too much of a bait. Too much, too fancy, too busy. But yeah, they get the kill, almost at the cost of their poor little Rubik. But, I mean, the entire time they've been rotating.
Oh, there's your Fisher, but the actual Berserker's call was popped a little bit earlier. Maybe if Dell kind of hung on there, would have found the kill a little bit, but found the kill a little bit easier. I think they still will find it here as they chase him down.
I don't know. Lifestealer's pretty fast.
Oh, dagger slow onto PSM. Dale with the call onto Harney. Might find the Queen of Pain. Pops his magic one this time. Blink in 7 seconds. Bottles up as well. They did find the life stealer there. Earthshaker was able to finish him off. Harney, what's the scream? Has this double damage. Fervian coming in as well. Hasn't got the mana to pop anything. But all in all, good little bit of play there for the Radiant. They find the kill onto the life stealer, but they do lose Leprecon here on the bottom lane. Go Black hangs around, will find him. Call onto Harney, enchant totem, holding him in place, but a telekinesis there, lifting Dale up. And they've got as well to buff Harney back up in the health department. Sam with the right click screen, catching both of them. Now open wounds onto Fervian, and Fervian will go down. It's 2 heroes across the map falling here for the Radiant. BZZ trying to chase it down. Blink forward from Harney. Under the tower, Dale hasn't got the mana for the Berserker's call. Getting fairly low himself. TP in here from the Shadow Fiend. Does get held by the telekinesis again by Yol. There's pings in the sidelines because Harney's there. 1 raise, 2 raise will bring him down. And yeah, Scream could have almost certainly finished up PSM there.
Yeah. I mean, if he didn't know he was there, but if you're going to die, I mean, even a panic Scream would have actually gotten him an accidental kill. So unfortunate. He didn't realize it. But you saw how confident Hani was in playing that. Like, he didn't use Blink for probably like 25 seconds, just walking around between the Earthshaker and the Axe, who were both completely out of mana. Like, they couldn't really do much. They had an enchant and a call between the both of them, which obviously wasn't enough to get that. But maybe overplaying a tiny bit, trying to blink into the tower, going completely YOLO. But it just seems so common. Like, this team does that so much. Like, they get so overconfident that they put themselves in a situation where they have no business being in. Like, you just double tower dive to tier 1 when the enemy team had TPs up at 8 minutes in to try to kill a support. Like, that's an overplay.
I mean, it really kind of feels that, yeah, Four Clovers are kind of throwing away the early game. And it was shown there on the graph as well as it wasn't their advantage, but now it's swung back to favor the side of Yellow Submarine. They might find Go Black here as well. I mean, there's an Enchantress and also an Earthshaker. Help count the Shadow Fiend involved as well. There's a Razor also in the sidelines joining in. That's going to be a very easy pick off there onto the Chen. Sexy Bambo will be able to windrun himself back out that one and back to the tab. But that's another kill for Yellow Submarine, and 5-6 on the board now. It is looking better and better for the side. And Shadow Fiend Barash maintaining the top of the net worth. But all in all, a bit of a repeat of the last game in the sense that still the top 3 net worth on the side of the Dire following the Shadow Fiend, of course favouring the side of Four Clovers. But the push now coming onto the tower, tier 1 here on the bottom lane. They'll do what they can in terms of damage. And Harney pressuring the mid lane, continuing to find his farm. But 5-6, 9 minutes in. Yellow Submarine doing pretty well after an initial pretty bad few minutes that came out from the side.
And Barash has been the pillar, as Shane said during the between game analysis, is that he's been very consistent, right? So he's top of the net worth again. He's got his mech at 100 gold. It's only 9.5 minutes in, and that's after he even died mid and had to play up against a queen with first blood gold. Like, that is a nightmare for a Shadow Fiend. Now, luckily, he's one of those heroes who can always recover, and we saw just that as now top lane.
Going in with the open moves here onto Dale. Fisher did come out, but he got dodged by the raise. Dale will choose to just TP and will get away. Posh gets static linking Harney, but Harney just blinks away. So no one to die in this engagement. Both teams being able to disengage themselves safely.
I'm really curious as to how this is going to play out now, because the Lifestealer has gotten an okay amount of farm, but the Axe is kind of keeping up. So I would say once the Blink Daggers come out from Yellow Submarine, Four Clover may have been looking for more during their laning phase than they've actually gotten. And I think those double Blinks, they're going to have such a gigantic impact on this game. Like, Dale, he might not have played a good Nyx, but we've seen his Axe before, and it's not bad. So if he can make the plays...
Fisher catching BZZ, Barash waltzing in with an Invis rune.
Nope.
Nope. Nah, we're going to be a little bit short there with the race. Won't be able to pursue it any further. Go Black is coming towards the lane here on the Chen. Pops down a sentry, make sure that the Radiant aren't aware of his presence. There won't be indeed no Radiant vision in this part of the map.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Radiant structures being fortified as the pressure's on in the mid lane and also on the bottom lane as Wind Ranger continues to push it down and might be able to find this with the focus fire. Looks like he will. Get himself a tier 1 potential. I know PSM comes in. Scare him off with the impetus. Top lane, Fisher into the old plasma. That is going to be able to bring down the Rubik. Harney's come into the middle of it all. Will be able to blink out. That doesn't want to hang around anytime soon. Go Black is there with the wraparound. Whoa.
Oh, God.
Okay.
They didn't see the creep, I don't think. Can we get Radiant Vision?
No, they see the Centaur. They see the Centaur coming in.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah. Right.
Damn.
Okay. Earthshaker He's not got the Fisher back off cooldown, has he? Yeah, well, let's look at the ES. What are they going to have to throw?
5 seconds.
5 seconds for the Earthshaker Fisher. Let's see what GoBlack can do with this rotation. Shadow Fiend does have the mech. We'll pop it straight away. So it's going to be a fairly tanky team to go up against. Rose one raised down. We'll get stood up by the Centaurs. GoBlack is going to get his damage stolen here with the Static Link. And well, with the punches, pops that Hand of God. It's not going to be enough to keep him alive. He will go down. Harney's come back into this. Echo Slam holding in place. They do find the call as well. This is fantastic play there from the side of the Radiant. That's going to be the Queen of Pain going down as well to the dunk. 2 heroes, 3 heroes falling is in fact bottom lane. The Wind Ranger goes down as well to PSM. So all in all, very nice there for the side of Yellow Submarine.
So Slasher and I both were thinking that it would be a 2-0 in favor of 4 Clover. And they win the first game. And then Slasher and I also both said that 4 Clover should win the next 2 games. But Yellow Submarine just refused to let either of us be right and are just proving that
it's looking very good.
The last game was not a fluke.
It certainly seems to be feeling that way so far, 12 minutes in. Yellow Submarine certainly playing, well, at the least at the same level as 4 Clovers, and evidently at the moment just a little bit of kind of outplaying them in certain situations. I mean, that looked to be, I mean, maybe an optimistic kind of gank there and shut down from GoBlack. Maybe didn't anticipate for the fact that the mech was available, but I don't know. All in all, wasn't even able to tickle the side of the Radiant, and 9-6 at the moment for the side of Yellow Submarine. Looking very strong against Harney's team, and now 12 minutes in with a lead coming up to about 5,000 in terms of net worth and about 3,000 in terms of XP.
I'm really surprised that they've managed to take this substantial of a lead in an early game that probably should have been favoring 4 Clover, at least with how active they wanted to be on the map. But
I should blink on Act now.
Yeah, the biggest issue now is the blinks. Like, the Earthshaker is only at 100 or so gold because he bought his Tranquils, but he had around 800 before he decided to buy that item. Barash is still farming great, highest on the net worth by 2.3 thousand. He can work his way towards his SNY, he can go for BKB. Doesn't really matter what his choice is. I mean, last game he played great. So I think between the Shadow Fiend being so consistent and now a Blink Dagger being available on their Initiator, like, they're going to get caught off guard by at least 1 Blink. Because I don't think Dale has actually shown himself in Vision yet. Or no, wait, he walked by the bottom ward. But did they see that he had Blink? That's the biggest question. Or no, did he TP? I think he TP'd.
I think he TP'd, didn't he?
Yeah, he did TP. Yeah, but now he walks by the ward. So if they ping it out, yeah, there it is. GoBlack saw it. Okay.
There's your Blink Dagger.
So now they know.
I mean, so Lifestealer, he has managed to pick up a Midas now at this point of the game. But I mean, in terms of the lineup that Yellow Submarine have they got the capability to kind of shut down his farm?
Oh yeah, they can take all the other 2 towers. Not a problem. I mean, you got a mech Shadow Fiend. You got Razor as well, who I think Miposhka is also opting for a mech. Shaker almost being brought to the high ground there, but not quite.
We're going for Roshan.
They need to fight this for sure.
BZZ and GoBlack on the high ground at the moment. There is backup from the Quap, standing by the secret shop. Also Wind Ranger coming down for this one as well. They've got the full lineup. It's at half health at the moment. PSM tanking it up with the Untouchable. Double damage to Barash, doing a lot of work. Nice fish onto 3. Oh, that's a big... Oh, the Blink call into the Echo Slam. 2 heroes deleted, make that 3. Mech is popped. The Sonic Wave isn't going to do an awful lot after the mech comes out. And what an initiation. That, even though they knew he had the Blink, that is the way you enter the game with a Blink Dagger on the maps.
Oh man, they had no vision. Like, the Sentry was dropped in the river, right? So the Shadow Fiend also had an Invis rune. So he used Invis inside of the pit, walked out knowing the Sentry was down and that there was no way that they would have been able to counter-initiate. And Dale just gets the biggest Blink call of his life. And the fight is just over at that point. There's no way they can come back from a 3-man initiation like that, especially when the Chen is one of the heroes who gets caught. Because instead of being able to hand a god and maybe keep the heroes alive long enough to be able to have some kind of counterplay, he doesn't get his spell off and he just flops over.
I mean,
that was a disaster.
Now they've got this fight, it kind of feels that, I mean, if they try and defend a tower, Dale's just going to Blink call them. And then the follow-up's going to be there. It's just going to be so hard for 4 Clovers to stop these tier 2s going down.
I don't think they can fight for now. They're going to have to wait for an opportunity to defend like high ground, or at the very least wait until Barash's Aegis disappears. Fighting into them right now, oh god, Bambo.
Yeah, Blink call, Fisher to follow up, looks for a dunk, but he's already dead, the Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
And they find the tier 2.
Yeah.
15.5 minutes in, and they don't want to go for more tier 2s, they want to maybe try and push for the high ground here. And
this is a really good chance.
They can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, they have the mech up on the Shadow Fiend still. He hasn't had to use it. I mean, they don't kill the base very fast, but that doesn't matter if the enemy team cannot fight you. Like, what is a Lifestealer going to do with only Midas Treads?
And let's go Black. I mean, they could just... Oh, the cool Blink call's actually messed up there. He calls no one.
Yeah, it's okay, though. They're still going to get the tier 3.
It was a zoning call. The ult gets throws the Fade Bolt out. But
Dude, they're going to lose Rax.
16 minutes in, Draskell. I mean, it's all... it's going to be a pause.
Strategy pause.
Strategy pause. Right, boys.
So,
we screwed up. What do we do now? I mean, what do they do now,
They
Draskell?
screwed up big time.
Yeah.
The fact that Bambo was the one who died bottom kind of hurts because he's one of the only heroes on their team who has real deep push, and he doesn't have to put himself in a bad position to do it. So Power Shot has ridiculous range. And Fade Bolt's pretty far, but you could potentially still get called if you do that. So with Bambo dead, there's no way for 4Clover to kill the creep wave anymore, which is probably why they decided to go high ground, just in the fact that they don't have the deep push that they need anymore. And the Queen has to do the same thing. She has to put herself so close to kill the creeps that an Axe Call can just jump her, and then she dies too. So yeah, I think 4Clover in some serious trouble right now, and honestly, they're going to get the range racks like 100%. I don't know if they'll get melee, because Bambo's going to be alive for the defense, but hopefully Hani's PC issues or whatever is afflicting him is resolved soon.
I mean, what's the graph looking like? It must be...
It's like 7,500 towards 10,000 gold in favor of Yellow
16
Submarine.
minutes in.
16 minutes in, and the experience is pretty close to 7,500 as well.
I mean, comeback potential for 4Clovers. Is it there in their draft, or?
It's kind of hard with a Chen. Like, playing a Chen from behind is probably the worst case scenario, I think. Like, the hero is built around being able to control the game. So when you're not controlling the game, your hero is like dead weight, more or less. It's kind of how I feel about the Razor in the last game. And it's not to say that he's played badly. It's just that when you have one catastrophe of a team fight around the Roshan pit, like, Godblack walked his creeps into the pit. 2 of them died. He stole one of the Enchantress creeps from the Enchantress, right? So he still had 2 left. Yeah. And then everything just gets called in the little choke point because Dale had very good positioning. And they had no vision. So they fought into a suboptimal situation in the beginning anyway. And even if that call hadn't hit 3, the Shadow Fiend still had invis and they still didn't have a way of seeing him. So I think even if that call hadn't landed in that particular way, a Requiem could have easily done the same amount of damage. So here we go.
Here we go, the game's on pause. Let's see how they can hold on to this push. They're on to the Rex now. Can 4Clovers do anything to stop this aggression? Sexy Bambo coming in.
What? Hello?
Bambo?
He was not here. There's no way he's here.
Come on, sir. That was well, okay, he's dead. Dale goes in. Fish has been thrown out. Miposhka looking for a static link. There's your return Fisher from Yol. Hani blinks in. Hand of God comes out. Miposhka getting low. We'll get telekinesis up now. And there's your blink call from Dale. Catches out Hani with the impetus damage as well, and the dunk. That's your Queen of Pain dead. BZT turns up to the fight, but he's got nothing to show for it here. 1 punch, 2 punch. He's dead.
Is this just GG?
What is boo-boo?
Is this just GG?
I mean, Draskell.
Yep, there it is. GG.
I mean, you did say at the end of the first game, if you were 4Clovers, you'd be tilting after that.
I would be tilting if that happened to me, and now I would be even more tilted because I just lost a 16-minute game.
Well, I guess for us that was nice after the 80-minute one we just did.
Hey man, I'm sure the people in production are thrilled that we don't have to have 2 90-minute games back-to-back for scheduling purposes. It's fantastic. I mean, for anybody who's a fan of Godblack or 4Clover in general, it's got to be a bit of a kick in the pants, but...
we were saying that the second series is going to be delayed. We were laughing at the time that it was scheduled for, but we were actually in a position where it was right. Because there was
let's check the time. Okay, it's 8:47 right now. The next series starts at 9. All right, thank you, Yellow Submarine, for putting us back on course.
Well, we didn't have a lot of faith in them at the start, but...
Nobody did.
No one did.
But it's nice to have those types of games.
It really...
Nobody who matters, Shane. I forgot to classify.
You're not an analyst.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He actually hit me.
Come on, you'll be able to claim for that.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right. Anyway, so that is a 2-0 victory there for the side of Yellow Submarine. And we're going to be going over some commercials and then our analyst desk. And we'll be back for the second series, myself and Draskell, very shortly. Which should be exciting. And we'll be able to move on to that nice and swiftly after a very quick defeat there. And 4Clovers are knocked out, of course. Yellow Submarine will move on to the semi-finals. So congratulations to them. We'll see you guys in a bit.